Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Dong Shuang. On Wednesday, October 13th, the International Olympic Committee released a preliminary set of health protocols for the upcoming Winter Games in Beijing. The 2022 Winter Olympic is set to be the most restricted large-scale sporting event since the pandemic. The so-called closed-loop management system will be a bubble-like environment. The athletes, supporting crews, officials, broadcasters, journalists, and a large games workforce will eat, sleep, compete, and work in the tube without leaving, from the day they arrive to the moment they depart. For anyone intending to enter this bubble, you must arrive in China fully vaccinated or prepare to spend the first 21 days in Beijing in solitary quarantine. Spectators will be allowed, but the entry will be limited to those residing in mainland China. No doubt, the Chinese government will implement a level of control that is unprecedented. No major sports league in the world has a mandate that all competitors be vaccinated or face a similar multi-week isolation period, most likely without access to training before being allowed to compete. The IOC said that all vaccines recognized by the World Health Organization will be accepted and that athletes who ask for medical exemptions would have their individual cases considered. Many prominent athletes around the world remain unvaccinated, and it remains to be seen how many potential Olympians will decide to skip the Beijing Games or subject themselves to a 3-week quarantine rather than accept vaccination. In early October, the U.S. Olympics and the Paralympics Committee announced that all of its athletes would be required to be vaccinated by December 1st if they hoped to represent the delegation next year in China. Organizers of Beijing 2022 presented these initial protocols to the IOC Executive Board on Wednesday. The IOC has already offered its full support for the restrictions. The so-called closed-loop management system would encompass all games-related areas, including arrival and departure, transport, accommodation, catering, competitions, and opening and closing ceremonies. The IOC statement suggests that no one inside the systems will be allowed to venture out of it for any reason. Those within the bubble also will be subject to daily coronavirus testing. For many Chinese residents, such a closed-loop management system is not new. After the initial lockdown phase in the early days of the COVID-19 outbreaks in China, the same has been applied to various areas when there were new local cases of COVID-19. In early August of 2021, there was a closed-loop management system for residential areas in Zhengzhou after local COVID-19 cases. In late August this year, residential areas in Songjiang district in Shanghai were also closed off in the same way. The same measures were implemented in the city of Xiamen in September of 2022 after 13 new cases of COVID-19 were detected in the region. The bubble operation for the Winter Olympics will start on January 23, 2022 and will be implemented until the end of the Winter Paralympics Games. On social media site Weibo, the hashtag Beijing Winter Olympic Games will implement the closed-loop management received 15 million views and thousands of comments, with many supporting the strict measures, arguing that the Chinese locals also need to be protected from foreigners who come from countries where preventive, protective, or containment COVID-19 measures are not actively implemented. The hashtag also triggered some anti-American sentiments, with some netizens suggesting that American athletes should be quarantined for a longer time or should even stay in their own separate U.S. Olympic bubble. The Summer Olympics in Tokyo featured a far more relaxed health protocol. The participants were not required to be fully vaccinated, No quarantines were required. Although the athletes were asked to remain within Olympic Village, they could interact with the outside world, including shopping and convenience stores, visited local restaurants, or takeout meals. Journalists and the venue workforce in Tokyo were allowed to commute to Olympic venues from their homes. As long as you passed the 14-day period of more harsh restrictions, all visitors to the Games were given the freedom to move about the city as they wished. With only 70% to 80% of foreigners vaccinated, Tokyo recorded an infection rate of 0.02% from 624,000 samples. Most positives were local workers. Tokyo's Olympic had no effect on virus spread in Japan. For next year's Beijing Olympic, with vaccination requirement, 21 days solitary confinement, and a daily COVID test, Beijing has no epidemiological reason to bubble Olympic participants. Olympic visitors present no health threat to China. There is a Chinese saying, 宾至如归. When guests come calling, they should be treated as if they are at home. Hospitality has an enduring tradition in China. Closed-loop management system flouts time-honored Chinese values. In its Olympic bid, Beijing emphasized that the festive Chinese New Year holiday, the Year of the Tiger, begins just 3 days before the February 4th opening ceremony. It looks like Olympic visitors won't be able to enjoy New Year's Eve dinner with a Chinese family or visit temple festivals. To stage the Winter Games, China will need to open its skies and allow international flights into Beijing's airports. International travelers flying to Beijing currently have to fly first to Shanghai, Guangzhou, or other approved ports of entry. During the Olympics, Beijing will allow charter flights from overseas, with Air China providing connections to Beijing. On Tuesday, October 5th, China opened up its borders to foreign Olympic athletes. On the same day, Beijing 2022 test events began. The test events are a requirement for host nations before the Games begin and will run until December 31st. About 2,000 overseas athletes are expected to arrive in China for the test events. China has a strong incentive to prosecute an exquisite Olympics ahead of the next Communist Party Congress. From the eyes of CCP, bubbling up Olympic journalists and prevent some from poking into human rights violations offers a clear advantages. That might be the real reason behind the closed-the-loop management system. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly.